Disability. Today we're with our awesome friend Karen.
So I'm Karen, and I'm a blogger, and I work at a nonprofit in the area. On my personal time, I blog about life and disability and what it means to be a young disabled woman trying to make it in the professional world. For a really long time, narratives were controlled by gatekeepers, and what blogging has done, especially in the disability community, has given us a chance to tell our own story.
Yes.
So it's given disabled people a chance to, and people with disabilities a chance to shape the narrative.
So for our young disabled viewers out there, I think it's really interesting to tell your story about your shift of embracing your disability, making your own message out there.
I was not always into being very open about disability, which is interesting because you can look at me and you can tell I'm a wheelchair user. It's not like I can pretend it doesn't exist. But when I was a kid, I went through a phase of really not wanting people to see that part of me, and feeling like if people saw a part of me, it immediately made me different from them in a way that was irreconcilable. And my mom was really involved in advocacy. She got really involved in disability advocacy. So like, it's not like my parents were like, no, like don't do it. It was totally me, and it was totally just me wanting to blend in and be like everyone else. And I think part of it is we don't talk about disability as a culture. So like when you're disabled or living with a disability, however you want to look at it, you are never really told that there's this community out there. So you spend your life thinking, I have to act like everyone else around me. One of the problems we face is that for the majority of people who have disabilities, you're not born into a community. So your parents may never have experienced disability until you showed up in their world. But it just creates this interesting dynamic of not really knowing how to make your way in the world because you don't have a role model. Like the real beginning of my journey to being the Karen I am today is that when I was in college, I met a professor who was also a physically disabled woman. She was the first person I ever met that looked like me, but had a life like my parents. So she had this life that I knew I wanted, but she looked like me. One of the conversations of that weekend that still stands out to me, I was talking about love with a friend of mine, and I said to them that I wanted to find somebody who could love me in spite of my disability. And my friend told me, they go, that's disgusting. And I was like, what? I don't understand. And they said, you're talking about toleration, you're not talking about love. That really got to me because it made me realize that the way I thought about myself as a person was that I was somebody to be tolerated and not somebody to be enjoyed or loved or cared about in that way. I think in a lot of our activism work and our advocacy work, we have to realize it's not so much about changing ourselves or changing people. It's about changing a culture.
Yes.
So that it's not a big deal that I'm in a wheelchair and Alex is not. That it's no bigger deal than you have a girl with black hair and a girl with blonde hair sitting here. When I was an intern, all of us in that room, we were disability advocates, and we understood what it meant to fight for equality and all that stuff. But we had to remember that there were people with disabilities on the other side of the threshold. People who didn't want to own it. And we had to remember not to judge them because we had all been there once. Whether you're ready to own it or not, the community is for you. Know that and feel like you have a place, even if you have those moments in your life when you're like, but I don't want. So like fully embrace it. And that's okay, I guess is what I'm saying. And know that there's space for you wherever you are in your journey, because it is a journey. Everyone has bad days, and yes, there are days when disability and impairment sucks. Like, can we be honest? Being an advocate, being an activist doesn't mean never admitting that it sucks.
Yes.
It means
I think that's such an important
point. That maybe it does, but that I can't change me, but I can try to make the world an easier place to live in, so that it'll suck a little less.
What hashtag would you like to use this week?
Own your story.
Hashtag own your story. We hope that you see Karen's blogs on fashion, on disability. All right, guys, have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye.